Welcome for today's session. Topic for today is whiskey. Whiskey is a spirit distilled from grain by pot still or patent still method. The grain used may be barley, maize, rye, wheat, or a mixture of all the grains in different proportion. The mixture may contain malted grain, unmalted grain, or both. The distilled drink is then aged in wooden barrels, especially made of oak. The barrels may be new or used, charred or uncharred. The minimum period of aging this particular spirit is at least 2 years. Now let's see about this spirit in details. Some of the popular whiskey manufacturing countries are Scotland, America, Canada, and Ireland. Definition of whiskey. Whiskey is a spirit made from the distillation of fermented mash of grains, usually barley, with wheat or maize or a mixture of two, which is aged in wood but not deliberately flavored with other ingredients. The word whiskey comes from Wisgebo or Wisgebeta, which meant water of life. The basic process of whiskey manufacturing. The main 6 steps are: the first is preparation of malt, second is mashing, then fermentation, then distillation, aging, and bottling. We will see all the steps in details. The first step, malting. The barley must first be malted, that is germinated, to convert the starches in each grain into soluble sugar. The barley is steeped in water for 2 to 3 days and then spread on malting floor. It is turned frequently to maintain a steady temperature. After about a week, when green shoots have appeared, the germination is stopped by drying the now green malt in a kiln. Peat, which gives a smoky character to the malt, is the traditional fuel used in the furnace for the drying process. At the distillery, the remains of the shoots and any other debris may be removed. The second step is brewing, which involves mashing and fermentation. Mashing. The brewing is split in 2 stages. The first stage is mashing. Hot water is added to the milled malt, which is known as grist, and the mixture is fed into a mash tun. Revolving paddles stir the mixture for several hours. The sugars present due to malting dissolve, and the solution which has the soluble sugars is now called as wort. The next process is fermentation. Once the wort is made, the second step is fermentation, where the wort is cooled, put in large vessels, yeast is added, and the fermentation begins, which converts the sugar present into alcohol. This particular wash is also referred as distiller's beer, as it has 5 to 10% of alcohol by volume. The next step involved is distillation. Malt whiskey is usually distilled twice in copper pot still. The wash is pumped into large wash still and is heated either directly or indirectly. As the alcohol vapors rise up and pass over the neck of the still, they condense. The residue is collected and used as cattle feed. This time, the still man monitors the spirit using hydrometers and removes only the heart of the run. The start of the run, the 4 shots, contains the higher alcohol and is too pungent and is not considered for making whiskey. The end of the run, the faints or tails, contains the weaker alcohols and also gathers pungency. The 4 shots and the faints are mixed with the next batch and are redistilled. Once all the alcohol is drawn off, the remaining liquid is basically water and is known as the spent. The next step is maturation or aging. The new make whiskey is then filled into oak cask. The most common type of oak are American or sherry oak cask. By law, whiskey must mature in cask for 3 years. During maturation, the flavor of the first filled spirit re-emerges and together with the compounds in the wood enhances the aroma and flavor of the mature whiskey. As each year goes by, 2% of the volume is lost due to evaporation, and this evaporation is known as Angel's share. Blending. Until 1853, Scotch whiskies were always straight whiskies. But about that time, few distilleries practiced blending of their drink. The first blended whiskey was made by Andrew Usher firm. Well, blending is an art. Blender is a person of great judgment and experience. Blending happens after the aging process. No whiskey in the blend should dominate. The age of the bottle is of the youngest whiskey in the blend. After the blending, there is addition of caramel. It depends on the standard of a particular brand. Then the spirit is filtered, and the last step is bottling and putting the right label, which involves the age of the whiskey, the brand, and area of production. Well, students, now solve the quiz. The link for the quiz is given in the description box below.